This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Let's talk about Adam Kinzinger. Adam Kinzinger is one of a handful of Liz Cheney and he, Republicans on the January 6th Select Committee investigating the January 6th insurrection, the attempted overthrow of the United States government, the failed coup attempt, a legitimate attempt to overturn a free and fair American election. He's been censured by the Republican Party. In their statement, they said that Cheney and Kinzinger are participating in a Democrat-led persecution of ordinary citizens who engaged in legitimate political discourse. We've all seen the footage of Capitol Police officers and Washington, D.C. metropolitan officers being assaulted, pepper sprayed, beaten. We've all watched it. And the Republican Party, in an official statement, says that is legitimate political discourse. And they're punishing members who are investigating the attempted coup because they are the party of terrorism and chaos. Adam Kinzinger was on with John Berman from CNN yesterday, and there's 4 clips I want to play from this interview, and I want to talk about it. I've both got a little praise for Congressman Kinzinger, and I also have some pointed criticisms and some let's withhold judgment on what this guy says. First, let's talk about the first. Let's just start the interview. This is a minute and a half or so, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
The Republican National Committee voted to censure Congressman Adam Kinzinger and Congresswoman Liz Cheney for serving on the committee investigating the January 6th insurrection. The censure resolution accused Cheney and Kinzinger of, quote, participating in a Democratic-led persecution of ordinary citizens, and this is key, engaged in legitimate political discourse. Joining me now is Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He is a member of the January 6th committee. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. You are a freshly censured congressman. How does that feel this morning?
What is this, like my baker's dozen of censures now from between local parties and now the national? It feels great. Actually, it makes me pretty sad because I think it says a lot for the party and it says a lot to call January 6th legitimate political discourse, but, it's actually just made me even double down on my intensity to get to the bottom of this, because that's really frightening when, half of the country's party is focused on complete denial of truth.
You say it says a lot about the party. What does it say?
Well, I think it says that they are completely unmoored from truth. I think it shows that they have pledged allegiance to one man over any kind of principle, and they can call that like loyalty. They call that conservatism. Conservatism is no longer about what you actually believe. It's about how intensely you're loyal to Donald Trump, a rhino now, a Republican in name only, as somebody who maybe actually holds to real conservatism and not to Donald Trump. I think it shows that this party is not committed to the rule of law, despite what they say, and it's not committed to democratic principles, small d, to get, to one vote, one, counts, and whoever gets the most votes wins. It's pretty frightening.
It is these types of statements that bother me from Republicans. Some that have come around and softened on what a dirtbag, what a garbage human Donald Trump is. Talking about how he's unmoored from truth, or the party is unmoored from truth. That they pledge allegiance to one man, he said. That conservatism isn't about what you believe. It's about how intensely loyal you are to Donald Trump. And the party is not committed to the rule of law or democratic principles. This coming from a man who still colors himself a Republican, who still goes on CNN with the R next to his name. An active member of a party not committed to the rule of law or democratic principles. Small d, democratic principles. Still a Republican. The same goes for the John Kasichs of the world, the Chris Christies of the world. Your tepid criticism of Donald Trump, it doesn't count. In this next clip, I want to talk about this next clip, especially because I have been screaming and yelling, literally screaming and yelling, about the inaction of the Department of Justice. The other day, Adam Schiff said something on MSNBC that echoes my emotions about this, echoes my analysis and my commentary on this, that we should be seeing something from the DOJ. There are no secret investigations that are happening. We need to see more from the Department of Justice, or Merrick Garland needs to GTFO and find another job. Because the rule of law is for everybody. Otherwise, it's not the rule of law. Watch this. Adam Kinzinger, at the end of the clip, echoing my concerns. We'll talk about that.
CNN reported on Friday that Congressman Jim Jordan, among the records you now have, are that he had a 10-minute phone conversation with Donald Trump the morning of January 6th. What does that tell you?
So I won't comment directly on that. I'll wait for the committee to put out any details that do or don't exist. But I think what, something like that in theory would show, and particularly what we're interested in is what was the president doing that day and leading up to that day? What did the president think January 6th was? What was he doing during it? I think the question is if this was a spontaneous act of violence of people that took the president literally, and he was only speaking metaphorically, as I think he recently said, hang Mike Pence was just metaphoric and not real. That's one thing. But if in fact the president knew that there was a potential for violence, that actually is something the DOJ might be interested in, because it would show that he would be, maybe have some criminal culpability at that moment.
This is a member of the committee saying that that's something the DOJ would be interested in. Again, another member from a different party also signaling to the Department of Justice, hey, over here, crimes happened. What are you going to do? Because Congress has no prosecutorial power. They are a lawmaking body with oversight power over the executive and the judiciary. And in this third clip, because Adam Kinzinger just had a kid, he's asked, what are you going to tell your son? What are you going to tell your boy about Donald Trump? And this is a Republican who still considers him a Republican talking about Donald Trump.
What will you tell Christian when he's old enough? What will you tell Christian about Donald Trump?
I'm going to tell him he was the worst president the United States of America ever had. He was a liar. He was a charlatan. And he was a man with a more fragile ego than anybody I've ever met, which the irony of it is he walks around like the tough guy, but he's the one that gets more offended and wounded and sad than anybody I know. I'm also going to tell him that it was the moment that I hope America hit the bottom of its slide towards authoritarianism, and the moment we woke up. I hope he's proud of what I've done. I'm confident he will be, because, short of this thing really going off the rails, this thing being our country in this experiment, I think we're going to look back and say, wow, that was a moment we might have flown too close to the sun, and we can never do that again. That's my hope and prayer, because if not, we're in real trouble.
Worst president the United States has ever had. A liar. A charlatan, things that we knew in 2015. Why did he not know? What was so cryptic about who Donald Trump clearly is that it couldn't be seen by Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, for that matter? I was going to save this till the end, but here we are. Adam Kinzinger, on average, over the course of Donald Trump's term, voted 90.2% of the time with the worst president in the history of the United States. Adam Kinzinger voted 90.2% of the time with the liar and charlatan and thin-skinned weakling, Donald Trump. So what was it that woke him up? Adam Kinzinger didn't even vote for the first impeachment, voted against it. The clear abuse of power, the clear extortion attempt. What happened, Adam? Did you see something the rest of us didn't see? Or did we see something you didn't see or turned your face to? And then, in this last clip, he talks about Josh Hawley and says something that in this tweet that they're going to talk about Donald Trump going down. And I want to talk about that specifically, and then we'll wrap.
You issued a tweet about Josh Hawley, a senator from Missouri, and I want to ask you a couple things about it. I think you were responding to Hawley talking about Ukraine and the fact that the United States should withdraw any guarantees about Ukraine being able to join NATO long term. And you wrote, I hate to be so personal, but Hawley is one of the worst human beings and a self-aggrandizing con artist. When Trump goes down, I certainly hope this evil will be laid in the open for all us to see and be ashamed of. I actually want to break this into parts if I can and take the second part first. When you say when Trump goes down, what do you mean by that?
Well, that's not based on anything on the committee, although I'm convinced that when the full story is out and history kind of moves on, Donald Trump is going to be just seen as a really a sad character in history. And I'm still confident that all this information is going to be out there for the American people. So I have a strong sense of confidence that all the lies, all the conspiracies, and all that garbage will be fully exposed for the American people to detest. And so I think Trump is going down. I don't know what form that's going to take, but I certainly don't think he's going to be the king of much more than Mar-a-Lago.
Talking about Donald Trump going down, a member of the committee privy to all kinds of confidential information that is not publicly yet available. And that he's saying that he believes it's going to happen because of not based on anything about the committee. What did he say? Not based on anything from the committee. Although, what's it based on, brother? It is absolutely based on the compendium of evidence that you've seen, that you believe Donald Trump is going down. I don't know if this is just Pollyanna positivity from Mr. Kinzinger, but I hope he is right. I hope that the man who voted 90.2% of the time with Donald Trump on issues of the border wall, child separation, all these things, 90% of the time voted with the worst president in the history of the United States. Well, maybe if you do your job well, Congressman, you can make up for the horror that is your voting record and your ideological stances with what you, with your own mouth, admit is the worst president in the history of the United States, which is a doozy because we've had all kinds of real gems from slave rapers all the way to modern times. What do you think, though? I'd love to know. You can call. Leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I appreciate your time and attention. Thanks for engaging with my content on a daily basis or weekly or monthly or how often you can stomach looking at my face. Follow me on social media. I'd love to connect with you there. I'm at Dollemore, Instagram, Twitter, all over the place. And if I bring you value, and only if I do, if there's somebody else out there on YouTube or some other medium that does more for you, support that person. Toss that person a few bucks every month. In these times, independent media is more important than ever. So you're not receiving just a corporate approved message. You're not getting that here. I am often not corporate approved. Anyway, you can click the join button below this video for $1.99. You can become a channel member, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both of those ways are fantastic methods of delivery to support and produce my work here on YouTube. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.